Aye. So I was thinking, with all the content I've created and shared with you guys, I haven't actually done like a rundown, this is how this thing works, you know, just give you the basics of everything. So I figured I would start with that today. Down in Texas here on a workcation, I guess. Just next week heading over to Bentonville, Arkansas for the Dirt Surfers One Wheel Enduro. But for now, I figured I'd give you some tips and tricks on getting started and maybe a little bit of advanced stuff with Trotter MAGWheel. So check it out. Alright, so today I'm going to show you a couple different things with the Trotter MAGWheel, including how to mount, how to dismount, how to turn it on, and we'll see what else I can get to here. So the first trick is turning it off and on. Pretty simple. Button right here on the front, silver. You can tell the front because the back is heavier because that's where the battery is. Turn on, you should hear 3 beeps. That tells you it's ready to go. So the next trick is going to be mounting. Now this could be tricky for a lot of new riders, and it takes a little bit of practice to get the feel for it. So the trick with this board is that it wants to be level. Whatever level is set at, whatever it's considering level based on its mode. So it wants to be level. Anything you do that takes it off level causes it to level itself. So if you lean this way, it's going to move forward in an attempt to level itself out. So that's the basic premise behind how this thing operates. Once you kind of wrap your head around that and figure out that the main trick is to keep your weight centered above this wheel, you're going to have a fun ride. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to figure out. A couple different ways to start this out. So the way it activates is that as soon as each of these pads is activated, it wants to level itself. So a lot of new riders will try to fight that leveling or try to drop in and start it that way, when really you just have to let the board do its thing and level itself out. One thing I like to do is start with a foot on the back pad, foot on the tire. This kind of gives you a feel for where your weight needs to be centered. Now as soon as you activate this front pad, it's going to level itself. You can either roll forward with it or you can let it do it itself. Now it's level. Pressure this way, pressure this way. As you can see, I'm keeping my weight directly above this wheel at all times. The main trick to being comfortable on this thing is to keep your knees stiff wherever they happen to be. You can bend them, but you want them to be stiff, nice and tight. You're controlling this board at all times. The other trick is floppy ankles. You want to let the board roll around underneath you. Don't try to keep your angle with the board because that'll throw you off balance. You want to stay straight up and down and let the board roll underneath you. Now once you master getting on it, the next tricky part is going to be figuring out how to dismount. Now there's a couple ways we can do that. With the T1LH and T1000, the slam stop is pretty easy just because there's not quite as much torque as with this Max I'm riding right now. I'll try, it's a little difficult on the Max, but slam stop is pretty simple. You go and you remove one foot off the front pad and put your weight on your back foot. It'll deactivate. Now the factory recommended method, which once you get it down it's not so bad, but it can be a little tricky at first, is you're going to roll your foot up and basically just roll right off that pad so that you deactivate that pad. See how my weight stays right above that wheel? Keep my back leg locked and slowly extend my front leg. I'm just kind of feeling how the board is trying to level and letting it do that instead of fighting it. Takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it, it's smooth. Now for a lot of people, one of the easiest ways to get off at first when you're learning it, especially when you're figuring out how it actually balances, is just to hop off. So the trick with that is that you're going to want to make sure you jump with both feet at the same time straight. If you jump with one foot first, it's going to slam down. So now you saw it roll over there, and generally it's a little bit off kilter just standing on its own. Now what this is actually a bit of a safety precaution, so that if for some reason one of these pads gets stuck or something beyond your control to where this board ghosts or takes off on its own, it's not going to go very far on its own before it tips over and stops. These boards also have a tilt warning sensor and a tilt shutoff, so if it goes beyond a certain degree angle, it will deactivate itself. It's also got that warning beep in case you were to tumble or fall. If the board is upside down or on its side, it's going to give a beep warning to kind of let anyone around know that there's a downed rider, or at least to pay attention. That beep will also kick in at top speeds, and it basically is an increasing beep from beep, 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 beep. Now that solid beep is going to be your line. As soon as, if you're hitting that beep, you are riding a fine line between this board no longer accelerating. Once it hits its top speed, it will stop accelerating, and you can no longer go past that. So if you're riding that continuous beep, you are risking the chance of a nosedive much more heavily than under normal circumstances. Another exciting thing that's happening is the app is almost available. We've had a couple of beta testers try it out. It's gotten great reviews. There's a programming update for the T1, the LH, and the T1000. Still finalizing the upgrade for the T3. The app does work. It shows mileage. It'll show you your battery life. It shows you how fast you're going. It's also got a new lockout feature that you can, in your app, you can shut off your board so that it will not activate for anyone. It'll literally beep and fall over and continue to beep as a sort of alarm until you unless you unlock it with your phone through the app. Again, great reviews from these new programming updates. I'm hearing that I haven't even had an opportunity to try it yet, but I've sent the app out to some beta testers, and they have said that it smooths out the ride. It feels like it's got a little bit more torque. The algorithm has definitely been smoothed out a bit and improved, and I'm definitely looking forward to showing that to some people and hearing other reviews from people on it as well. So next I'm going to show you the basic concept of turning, stopping, back and forth. So again, once you get the mount down, and again, sometimes I'll just hop on and take off forward. Another good trick if you're having a real hard time mounting is that you can put a block of wood or set it on a curb so that the board starts off level when you step on it. This is a really good way for people that are having a lot of trouble with the rocking motion that it may have if you don't know to have the muscle memory. That gives a lot of new riders a little bit quicker chance to feel how the board balances and to actually be on top of it, which can definitely help the learning curve. So the basic concept of back and forth, as I explained before, is that the board wants to be level. If I put weight this way, it's going to move that way in order to level itself. So the basic concept for turning is pretty simple. If you've ever done any kind of board sports before, it's going to be a little bit intuitive for you. Although the stiff knees, floppy ankle things is not going to be intuitive. That's going to be something you're definitely going to have to practice. So with turning, basically you're going to point, to turn this way, you're going to point your toes and your shoulder. Turn heel side, same concept. You always want to look where your shoulder is pointing, and that's going to help you stay in the correct line. Turn your head with your shoulder. Another trick is to always look ahead of what you're riding at, not down in front of you. Same with riding a motorcycle, driving a car, anything else, or even riding a bicycle. If you look right in front of your bike, you don't see what's coming, and it makes it harder to keep your balance. Keep a focal point ahead of you, a little bit down. Obviously, you're going to want to keep an eye on the road for obstructions. Another thing I wanted to mention is that your boy Joe here is the U.S. warranty tech, service tech for all these boards in the U.S. currently. So if you ever have a problem with one of these boards, it's got a 12-month full service warranty on the board and battery, 3-month warranty on the tires and the LEDs. That's going to be personally handled by me or one of my trained technicians, and it's a US-based service, and we're adding more and more shops as time goes on. We fully believe in the right to repair. And just so you know, even if your board is out of warranty,